man kan inte vara det. Det skulle man aldrig kunna vara sådär. Ja, man vet inte vilket som är med.
No! God, please, no! No!
Thank you.
Yes!
A few moments later. Huh?
That afternoon, Peppa Pig's family decided to take a walk through the forest near their house. At first, the forest was peaceful and beautiful. The leaves were green, the air smelled fresh, and little paths wound through the trees. Peppa and George ran ahead, laughing and playing, while Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig strolled behind, enjoying the relaxing walk. But as they ventured deeper into the forest, things started to feel strange. The sunlight grew dim, blocked by the thick canopy above. The temperature dropped, and the cheerful sounds of birds vanished. Then, strange noises started drifting through the trees, low, eerie moans that sent chills down their spines. Moments later, dark figures appeared among the trees. Zombies. Their bodies were rotten, with torn clothes clinging to decomposing flesh. Their lifeless eyes stared blankly ahead as they stumbled towards Peppa and her family, their footsteps slow but relentless. There was no time to think. The family turned and started running. They pushed through bushes and slipped on the muddy ground, hearts pounding in their chests. The zombies followed behind, dragging their feet through the dirt and leaves, closing the distance with each passing second. When they thought they could run no further, they saw a cave hidden under the trees. Without hesitation, they rushed inside and filled the cave with rocks. It was pitch black inside the cave. Only their heavy breathing and the sound of the rain broke the silence. But outside, the zombies' groans grew louder. They had found the cave and surrounded it. Rotten hands pounded on the door, testing its strength. The cave door was cracking under the pressure, and the family knew it would not last long. Time seemed to slow down. They huddled together, listening to the zombies' shuffling footsteps outside, waiting. A way out seemed impossible. If they stayed in the cave, the door would soon break open and the zombies would rush in. But if they ran, they were not sure if they would survive. When the rain finally eased, Daddy Pig peeked through a crack in the door. The zombies were still there, but the ground was now so muddy that the creatures moved even slower. It was their only chance. The family had to leave before it was too late. They didn't hesitate. Daddy Pig pushed the door open and they ran back into the forest. Mud splashed around them as they slipped and stumbled forward. The zombies dragged after them, groaning loudly. They ran as fast as they could, desperate to escape. But just as they neared the edge of the forest, Mummy Pig slipped on a patch of mud and fell to the ground. Peppa turned back, reaching for her mother, but the zombies were almost upon them. There was no time to save her. Mummy Pig looked at Peppa, her eyes full of love, and signalled for her to keep running. Daddy Pig, holding George tightly, grabbed Peppa's hand and pulled her away. Together they ran toward the road, leaving Mummy Pig behind. Peppa glanced over her shoulder one last time and saw her mother's figure disappear into the shadows as the zombies surrounded her. When they finally reached the open road, the three of them stopped. They were safe, but something was missing. The forest behind them stood silent and dark, and they knew that Mummy Pig was never coming back. In a peaceful village, there was a small, cosy house where the Peppa Pig family lived. Everything seemed perfectly normal, until one day, Peppa's parents began to notice strange things. During the day, Peppa was still cheerful, running around and playing with her friends. But strange things started happening at night. Every night, even though it was late, Peppa's parents would hear her giggling from the playroom. At first, they thought it was just Peppa staying up late, playing by herself. But as time passed, they began to feel uneasy because the sounded like two children playing together. One night, Peppa's father decided to check the security cameras in the house to see what was really going on. And what they saw on the screen made both of them freeze in shock. They saw Peppa, in her pajamas, happily playing with a little boy. It was none other than George, their youngest child, who had died years ago. George was wearing his old favourite clothes, and his bright eyes glimmered strangely, not like the eyes of someone alive. On the screen, George and Peppa were stacking wooden blocks into a tall tower, then knocking it over and laughing loudly. Peppa's parents looked at each other, a cold chill running down their spines. They knew for sure that George could not be alive. He had been gone for a long time, but now his spirit had returned to this house, playing with his sister. Unable to believe what they were seeing, Peppa's mother whispered, "How is this possible? George, are you really back?" But the scene on the screen didn't stop there. Suddenly, George turned his head toward the camera, stared directly into the lens, and gave a strange, eerie smile, as if he knew his parents were watching. Peppa and George's laughter echoed through the night, growing louder and louder, until it made Peppa's parents feel suffocated with fear. Unable to bear it anymore, they rushed upstairs to check the playroom. When they opened the door, they only saw Peppa sitting alone in the middle of the room, still giggling, her eyes sparkling with joy. The room was completely empty. There was no trace of George or anyone else. But strangely, the wooden blocks on the floor were arranged into the shape of the first letter of George's name. G. Peppa looked up at her parents with an innocent smile and asked, "Why don't you play